Hello everyone, so welcome back. Yes, like I said in my last video, I've told you like I've been reading I've not been like posting videos because it's a holiday. It's been like a holiday where my whole country, yes, Vietnam, got to like have a holiday and we gotta have a day off, which is really cool. Not really cool, but like that. So tomorrow I'm going to start my first day at school, which is going to be awesome. So yeah, we're gonna move on to our next book, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secret. Well, in this one, it have a snake on it. Yes, but in this one, it have. If you look more carefully, you'll see like there's a snake, and this is a phoenix. This is Harry Potter, and look at this background. You can see a little girl, and that is Ginny Weasley. So yeah, and also this is like the Gryffindor sword. Yes, the Gryffindor sword from Gryffindor. Hmm, of course. So yeah, this is like I've told you, like I read this for you, but actually in this book, I actually like read like half of the book actually. Like in the last few here, I've read over here. I've read to chapter 9 in this book, literally like half of the book already. So why do I read like earlier? Because well, after I read all about like the last book, Harry Potter, and last talk about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone. Yes. So I already read all that because I'm too excited and I want to know more about what will happen. Well, I already read all of this. Yes, I already read all of this, but um I want to read it again because it just like when I read it again, it's just very exciting even when I already read done. So yeah, Harry Potter. So in the back this didn't have any like picture, but this one do. It have a picture of a house elf, Dobby. So in the last of this book, Dobby is a free elf. So I don't want to be a spoiler alert, a spoiler or anything. So I'm just gonna like go and read this because I don't want to spoil this. Okay, so let's read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secret. Chapter 1, The Worst Birthday. Not for the first time, an argument had broken out over breakfast. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so at Private Drive, Mr. Vernon Dursley had been woken in the early hour of morning by a loud hooting sound from his nephew Harry's room. From his nephew Harry's room. Third time this week, he roared across the table. If you can't control that owl, it'll have to go. Harry tried yet again to explain. She's bored, she said. She's used to flying around outside. If I could just let her out at night. Do I look stupid? Snarled Uncle Vernon. A bit of fried egg gliding. A bit of fried egg dangling from his bushy moustache. I know what will happen if that owl let out. He exchanged a dark look with his wife, Petunia. Harry tried to argue back, but his words were drowned by a long, loud belch from Dursley's son, Dudley. From the Dursley son, Dudley. I want more bacon. There's more in the frying pan, sweet tums, said Aunt Petunia, turning misty eyes on her massive son. We must feed you up while we've got the chance. I don't like the sound of that school food. Nonsense, Petunia. I never went hungry when I was at smelting, said Uncle Vernon. I think I better change this over here and this right over here. Okay, that's much more better. Um, said Uncle Vernon heartily. Dudley, get enough, don't you, son? Dudley, who was so large, his bottom dropped over either side of the kitchen chair, grinned and turned to Harry. Pass the frying pan. I've forgotten the magic word, said Harry irritably. The effect of the simple sentences on the rest of the family was incredible. Dudley gasped and fell off his chair with a crash that shook the whole kitchen. Mrs. Dursley gave a small scream and clapped her hand to her mouth. Mr. Dursley jumped to his feet, vein throbbing at his temple. I meant please, said Harry quickly. I didn't mean, what have I told you? Thundered Uncle, spraying spit over the table, about saying the M word in our house. But how dare you threaten Dudley? Roared Uncle Vernon, pounding the table with his fist. I warn you, I will not tolerate mention of your abnormality under this roof. Harry stared from his purple-faced uncle to his pale aunt, who was trying to heave Dudley up to his feet. All right, said Harry. Uncle Vernon sat back down, breathing like a winded rhinoceros, and watching Harry closely out of the corners of his small, sharp eyes. Ever since Harry had come home from the summer holiday, Uncle Vernon had been treating him like a bomb that might go off at any moment, because Harry was a normal boy. As a matter of fact, he was not normal as it possible to be. Harry Potter was a wizard fresh from his first year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and if the Dursleys were unhappy to have him back for the holiday, it was nothing to how Harry felt. He missed Hogwarts so much it was like having a constant stomachache. He missed the castle with its secret passageway and ghost his lesson through, perhaps not Snape, the potion master, the post arriving by the owl, eating banquet in the great hall, sleeping in his four-poster bed in the tower dormitory, visiting his gamekeeper Hagrid in his cabin in the ground next to the Forbidden Forest, and especially Quidditch, the most popular sport in the wizarding world. 6 tall goalposts, 4 flying balls, and 14 players on the broomstick. All Harry's spellbook, his wand, ropes, cauldron, and top of the rage Nimbus 2000 broomstick had been locked in a cupboard under the stair by Uncle Vernon the instant Harry had come home. What did the Dursley care if Harry lost his place in the house Quidditch team because he hadn't practiced all summer? What was it to the Dursley if Harry went back to school without any of his homework done? The Dursley were what wizards called muggles. Not a drop of magical blood in their vein. And as far as they were concerned, having a wizard in the family was a matter of deepest shame, or Uncle Vernon had even padlocked Harry Owl's Hedwig inside her cage to stop her carrying message to anyone in the wizarding world. Harry looked nothing like the rest of the family. Uncle Vernon was large and necklace with an enormous black moustache. Aunt Petunia was horse-faced and bony. Dudley was blonde, pink, and porky. Harry, on the other hand, was small and skinny with brilliant green eyes and jet black hair that was always untidy. He wore round glasses, and on the forehead was a thin, lightning-shaped scar. It was this scar that made Harry so particularly unusual. Even for a wizard, this scar was the only hint of Harry's very mysterious past of the reason he had been left from the Dursleys' doorstep 11 years ago. At the age of 1, Harry had somehow survived a curse from the greatest dark sorcerer of all time, Lord Voldemort. Voldemort, whose name most witch and wizard still fear to speak. Harry's parents had died in Voldemort's attack, but Harry had escaped with his lightning scar, and somehow nobody understood why. Voldemort's power had been destroyed the instant he had failed to kill Harry. So Harry had been brought up to his dead mother's sister and her husband. He had spent 10 years with the Dursley, never understanding why he kept making odd things happen without meaning to, believing the Dursley story that he had got his scar in this car crash which has killed his parent. And then exactly a year ago, Hogwarts had written to Harry, and the whole story had come out. Harry had taken up his place at wizard school, where he and his scar were famous. But now the school year was over, and he was back with the Dursley for the summer, back to being treated like a dog that had rolled into something smelly. Dursley hadn't even remembered that today had been to be Harry's 12th birthday, of course. His hope hadn't been high. They'd never given him a proper present, let alone a cake, but Took ignored it completely. At that moment, Uncle Vernon cleared his throat importantly and said, "Now, as we all know, today is a very important day." Harry looked up, hardly daring to believe it. "This could well be the day I make the biggest deal of my career," said Uncle Vernon. Harry went back to his toast. Of course, he thought bitterly. Uncle Vernon was talking about the stupid dinner party. He'd been talking of nothing else for a fortnight. Some rich builder and his wife were coming to dinner, and Uncle Vernon was hoping to get a huge order from him. Uncle Vernon's company made drills. "I think we should run through the schedule one more time," said Uncle Vernon. We should all be in the position at 8 o'clock. Petunia. 8 o'clock. Petunia, you will be in the lounge," said Aunt Petunia promptly, waiting to welcome them graciously down home. Good, good. And Dudley? "I'll be waiting to open the door." Dudley opened his full, simpering smile. "May I take your coat, Mr. and Mrs. Mansion? They'll love him," cried Aunt Petunia rapturously. "Excellent, Dudley," said Uncle Vernon. Then he rounded on Harry. "And you?" "I'll be in my red bedroom, making no noise and pretending I'm not there," said Harry tonelessly. "Exactly," said Uncle Vernon nastily. "I'll lead them into the lounge, introduce you, Petunia, and pour them drink at 8:15. I'll announce dinner," said Aunt Petunia. "And Dudley, you'll say, 'May I take you through to the dining room, Mrs. Mansion?'" said Dudley, offering his fat arm to an invisible woman. "My perfect little gentleman," sniffed Aunt Petunia. "And you?" said Uncle Vernon viciously to Harry. "I'll be in my room, making no noise and pretending I'm not there," said Harry dully. "Preciously. Now we should aim to get in a few good compliments at dinner. Petunia, any idea?" "Vernon, you tell me you're a wonderful golfer, Mr. Mansion. Do you tell where you brought your dress, Mrs. Mansion?" "Perfect. Dudley, how about we had to write an essay about our hero out of school, Mr. Mansion, and I wrote about you." This was too much for both Aunt Petunia and Harry. And Petunia burst into tears and hugged her son, while Harry ducked under the table so they wouldn't see him laughing. "And you, boy," Harry fought to keep his face straight as he emerged. "I'll be in my room, making no noise and pretending I'm not there," he said. "Too right, you will," said Uncle Vernon forcefully. "The Mansion don't know anything about you, and it's going to stay that way. When dinner over, you take Mrs. Mansion back into the lounge for coffee, Petunia, and I'll bring the subject round to drill. With any luck, I'll have the deal signed and sealed before the news at 10. We'll be shopping for a holiday game in Murdrosa this time tomorrow." Harry couldn't feel too excited about this. He didn't think the Dursley would like him any better in Murdrosa than they did in the private drive. "Right, I'm off into town to pick up any dinner jacket for Dudley and me. And you?" he snarled at Harry. "You stay out of your aunt's way while she's cleaning." Harry left through the back door. It was a brilliant sunny day. He crossed the lawn, slumped down the garden bench, and sang under his breath, "Happy birthday to me." No card, no present. He would be spending the evening pretending not to exist. He gazed miserably in the hedge. He had never felt so lonely, more than anything else at Hogwarts, more even than playing Quidditch. Harry missed his best friend, Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger. They, however, didn't seem to be missing him at all. Neither of them had written to him all summer, even though Ron had said he was going to ask Harry to come and stay. Countless time, Harry had been on the point of unlocking Hedwig's cage by magic and sending her to Ron and Hermione with a letter. But it wasn't worth the risk. Underage, wizards weren't allowed to use magic outside school. Harry had told the Dursley this. He knew it was their only terror that he might turn Dursley this. He knew it was only their terror that he might turn them all into dung beetle that stopped them locking him in the cupboard under the stair with his wand and broomstick. For their first couple of weeks back, Harry had enjoyed muttering nonsense words under his breath and watching Dudley tearing out of the room as fast as his fat leg could carry him. But the long silence from Ron and Hermione had made Harry feel so cut from the magical world that even taunting Dudley had lost its appeal. And now Ron and Hermione had forgotten his birthday. What would he give now for a message from Hogwarts? From any witch or wizard? He'll almost be glad of sight of this arch enemy, Draco Malfoy, just to be sure it hadn't all been a dream. Not that his whole year at Hogwarts had been fun. At the very end of last term, Harry had come face to face with none other than Lord Voldemort himself. Voldemort might be ruined of his former self, but he was still daring, still cunning, still determined to regain power. Harry had slipped through Voldemort's clutch for a second time, but it had been a narrow escape, and even now, a week later, Harry kept walking in the night, drenched in cold sweat, wondering where Voldemort was now, remembering his livid eyes, his wide, mad eyes. Harry suddenly sat bolt upright on the garden bench. He had been staring absent-mindedly on into the hedge, and the hedge was staring back. Two enormous green eyes had appeared among the leaves. Harry jumped to his feet just as a jeering voice floated across the lawn. "I know what day it is," sang Dudley, waddling toward him. The huge eyes blinked and vanished. "What?" said Harry, not taking his eyes off the spot where they had been. "I knew what day it is," Dudley repeated, coming right up to him. "Well done," said Harry. "So you've finally learned the day of the week. Today's your birthday," sneered Dudley. "How come you haven't got any card? Haven't you got friend at the freak place?" "Better not let your mom hear you talking about my school," said Harry coolly. Dudley hitching his trouser, which was slipping his flat bottom. "Why are you staring at the hedge?" he said suspiciously. "I'm trying to decide what would be the best spell to set it on fire," said Harry. Dudley stumbled backward at once, a look of panic on his fat face. "You can't. Dad told you you're not to do magic. He said he'll shug you out of the house, and you haven't got anywhere else to go. You haven't got any friend to take you." "Jiggery pokery," said Harry in a fierce voice. "Hocus pocus, squiggly wiggly." "Mom!" howled Dudley, tripping over his feet as he dashed back toward the house. "Mom, he's doing you know what!" Harry paid dearly for a moment of fun, as neither Dudley nor the hedge was in any way of hurt, and Petunia knew he hadn't really done magic, but he still had to duck as she aimed a heavy blow at his head with a soapy frying pan. Then she gave him work to do, with a promise he wouldn't eat again until he finished. While Dudley lewed around watching and eating ice cream, Harry cleared the window, watched the car, mowed the lawn, trimmed the flower bed, pruned and watered the rose, and repainted the garden bench. The sun blazed overhead, burning the back of his neck. Harry knew She shouldn't have risen to deadly bait, but Dudley had said the very thing Harry had been thinking to himself. Maybe he didn't have any friend at Hogwarts. Wish they'd see famous Harry Potter now, he thought savagely. He spread mantra on his flower bed, his back aching, sweat running down his faces. It was 7:30 in the evening when, at last, exhausted, he heard Aunt Petunia calling him. Get in here and walk on the newspaper. Harry moved gladly in the shade of gleaming kitchen. On top of the fridge stood tonight pudding, a huge mound of whipped cream and sugar violet. A joint of roast pork was sizzling in the oven. Eat quickly, the mansion will be here soon, snapped Aunt Petunia, pointing to 2 slabs of bread and a lump of cheese on the kitchen table. She was already wearing a solemn pink cocktail dress. Harry washed his hands and pulled down his pitiful supper. The moment he had finished, Aunt Petunia whisked away his plate. Upstairs, hurry! As he passed the door to the living room, Harry caught a glimpse of Uncle Vernon and Dudley in the bow tie and dinner jacket. He had only just reached the upstairs landing when the doorbell rang, and Uncle Vernon's fierce face appeared at the foot of the stairs. Remember, boy, one sound! Harry crossed to his bedroom on tiptoe, slipped aside, closed the door, and turned in the collapse in his bed. The trouble was, there was already someone sitting on it.